took my daily walk on the world famous Malecon this morning. Malecon is 1 mile long or 1.6 kilometers, but you can extend that walk all the way to the pier, taking it to 2 kilometers or 1.25 miles. Try to get our 10,000 steps in the morning before it gets too hot. Want to do the Malecon today. Thought I'd start a little bit before it. This is called the Millennium Sculpture. Part of all the sculptures you'll find along the Malecon. And this is the first beach. So here we go. So the sun is over the Sierra Madre Mountains, which makes it a little bit bright when you're walking right towards it, because it's coming right down this particular street. I think this is 31 Octubre Street, which is the start of the Malecon. A lot of people, when they talk about the start of the Malecon, they make reference to McDonald's, which is right on the corner here. So here we go. Got a bike lane, pedestrian lane. The start has a few relatively new restaurants, and then some that have been around forever, including this pescaderia or fish market. And you have a choice in the morning. You can walk in the sun. You can stay to the right-hand side near the water, or you can stay closer to the shops, which are just opening up. See, everybody's cleaning their front doorways. They seem to do that every morning, during the high season at least. Today, it's still fairly early, so we're getting a lot of shade on the Malecon near the water, so I think I'll walk there. One of the many sculptures you'll find here. A little bit whimsical. I understand it has everything to do with time. There's an hourglass there. Not sure what the rest of it has to do with time, but that's what I've been told. Shops are just starting to open up, not all of them. You'll find the souvenir shops generally are open early, and then the more normal shops, you know, or clothing and regular things like this, they'll open up generally after 10. One of my favorite statues right here. Don't know what the name is, but it's obviously a couple. It's just spectacular. So this is Senior Frogs across the way. If you have kids and it's their birthday, this is the place to go. They put on a good show for them. Put them in hats and balloons and have clowns around. Very popular. This is the pole the Papantla Flyers sit on. They're in an indigenous group here that swings around the poles on ropes. It's actually quite fascinating. If you check some of my earlier videos from last year, you'll see that. Somebody here is stacking up some rocks. Very interesting. There's lots of access ways to the beach, and the beach changes every year. Sometimes it seems fairly sandy, then other times the sand gets washed away, and you end up with the beach that you see here now. Lots of walkways like this one to get down to it. This is another sculpture, again one I really like. I believe it's called the Rock Eater. I guess this gentleman apparently is eating all his problems. So some of the restaurants are opening up, so good place to grab breakfast if that's of interest to you. This is the Lobster House. Anchovia is right beside it. Now, there's a lot of these tourist booths out here. They're located up and down the Malecon and actually in various locations in the busiest parts of the city. They're great. I believe they're run by the city, so I don't think they're associated with any commercial operators. You can get maps, you can get advice on all the different excursions you can find here. A great place to drop in, get some information, and then you can maybe compare prices with some of the other vendors you find along the Malecon. And I must admit, they're mostly manned by young people who speak both Spanish and English. Sometimes their English isn't super, but is definitely passable, and it's a great place to get information. So I'm not exactly sure what they call this one. I always refer to it as the body surfer statue. And it's right across what is Abasolo Street. And if you ever want to go up to the Mirador, this is the most direct route. You just start up that street and it should take you all the way there. Again, we got another whimsical sculpture. This one seems to all be sea creatures, but they're all made into chairs, so lots of people stop here for interesting pictures. What they've done recently as well is installed some of these booths, which will actually describe the sculpture. You just have to scan the QR code here. Talks about the artist, when it was put here, and what it all represents. Won't get into that today, but I wish they would do that with all the sculptures. Having said that, there's a lot of tour operators. I believe on Wednesdays you can pick up a tour operator at the Millennium Sculpture or Millennium Statue, and they'll take you around and explain the Malecon, explain all the sculptures, and I think they're only asking for a donation. Other nice thing about the Malecon is there are many locations with flowering trees. So it's a nice scenic walk. In addition to the ocean view you get, all the palm trees, get a lot of flowering trees as well. And they maintain it quite well. This particular section of the Malecon was damaged, I think last year or the year before, when they had some large waves and knocked the caps off. And they've obviously got some new caps here that they're putting back on and refurbishing. So those are the new ones. And then these are some of the old ones that were damaged in the last storm. Now, this is a very popular sculpture on the Malecon. It looks like kids with pillow heads. So I imagine people lost in dreams and just going off to dreamland, but I'm not sure. The reason it's so popular is you see different people climbing up on it to get their picture taken. So I guess popular for the young and old, but it makes a great shot. So we're now entering the main section of the Malecon. Generally when there's any event like Christmas decorations or the Day of the Dead, they put all their decorations here. Right now they just completed the Day of the Dead festival really 3 weeks ago, and they are now dismantling the sculptures. So they got some cranes in here. They had the largest Katrina in the world, and parts of it are right here ready to be hauled away, and most of the other smaller Katrinas are now gone. But I'm not sure where they store them, but they must have a lot of room somewhere. So here's the next iconic statue. I thought it was a sun worshiper statue, but I've been told it actually is celebrating rainfall. There's actually a couple of those. I saw one in one of the museums, though. If you take the artwork walk in town here, which runs normally every Wednesday evening, it's for free. You can drop into some of the art galleries. I think you'll find one of those statues or something similar if you do that excursion. So somebody again is stacking rocks. Normally they're out here looking for donations. And then these large sandboxes here, over the course of the year, generally a couple of times, they'll be building sand sculptures, which are actually quite interesting to watch them construct. And they're generally quite detailed and quite good. Again, another of the sculptures from the Day of the Dead festival. This one was a whale, obviously. You can see at this section of the Malecon, they've got some street traffic because we're heading down to where City Hall is, which is the building straight in front of us. I guess that would be Neptune here on this sculpture. Our next statue is the boy on a seahorse, and this representation has become symbolic of Puerto Vallarta. They have a similar statue, a lot smaller, on the Los Muertos or Playas Los Muertos beach. That's also here, and it's right in the middle of the famous Puerto Vallarta sign, which was recently repainted this year, or for this year, painted on back and front now. And this is a classic spot that people come to have their pictures taken. And when the cruise ships are in town, which I don't think we have one today, this place is just loaded, and sometimes it becomes a bit of a challenge to get a picture. Well, I should say you can get a picture, but you may have a few unattended people in front of you as well, or in your picture. Well, there's always something going on the Malecon most weekends, and today they seem to have another road race going on. I think 2 weeks ago they had a marathon, so there's something else going on right now. And I saw numerous people going by with numbers on it, so I'm not sure how far along they are with the race. It might be over already. So this is the main square. This is City Hall. And this is the Church Our Lady of Guadalupe. Sorry, I can't get a good picture right now because the sun is right over it. And this looks like the road race must be over. And they're in the Los Arcos Amphitheater. So generally on the weekend in the evenings, they've always got some music going here. Normally suitable for children.
Por aquellos hombres y mujeres que están todos los días haciendo el esfuerzo por tener una familia mejor, y ese Cristo vive para ellos, en especial también por todas aquellas familias que se encuentran en los hospitales y los que cuidan también a aquellos hombres que se encuentran en los hospitales. A la cuenta de 3, Cristo vive. Sale una, todos juntos. 2, 3. ¡Cristo vive! Una vez más, 1, 2, 3. ¡Cristo vive! María Reina, 1, 2, 3. María Reina!
It looks like they're celebrating their race today. And it does say marathon, at least on a couple of the gentlemen's shirts here. So this is the Dolphin Fountain. Unfortunately, the last couple of years they haven't been putting any water through it. So it's not as nice as it normally is, or can be. Still pleasant to look at. And this is the Marine Museum, or I should say the Naval Museum. It's actually excellent. I went into there a couple of weeks ago and did a video. If you're interested, highly recommend it. It's actually cheap. I think it's only 45 or 50 pesos to get in, if I remember it correctly. Well worth it. Lots of history, mostly associated with the Navy, obviously, from early times when the natives or indigenous folks were here. It talked about their watercrafts and naval skills all the way up to the formal founding of the navies. Talks about the different wars that Mexico was involved with, and obviously the naval portions of those. So we're in a section where you're going to see a lot more tourist shops and a lot more restaurants, all serving breakfast, and still lots of statues. So I believe this one is called The Dancers. It was recently repainted this year. Above all these stores, there seems to be a lot of condo buildings, or condominiums, I should say. These look like 2 sea urchins. You never know what you're going to find on the Malecon. This young lady is practicing some skills, but I think she's actually getting passing her trade, and I think getting some photographs done at the same time. So this particular statue is, I think, dedicated to some of the first monks that came by this area. It says on this billboard here, Santo Patrono de los Cocineros, San Pascual Bellon, 1540 to 1592. Really like this one. More restaurants getting set up for breakfast. Now we're going to take probably what is the most popular bridge in all Puerto Vallarta, for walking that is, and it passes over the Quali River, which runs right through the heart of the downtown. And that's another good walk. Just go down the center section and take it right to the very end. Hard to get some good shots, unfortunately, with the sun immediately to the east of us. So this bridge, I should say, was just recently rebuilt. At least the decking portion of it was getting pretty worn out. So I guess over the course of the summer, they decided to rip it up and relay the surface. And it is definitely a lot easier to walk on. So the bridge actually has a walkway right here. And this is the Quali River Island. And this is how you get to it. And if you're looking for souvenir shopping, that is a place that you probably want to check out, because they have lots of souvenir shops, lots of vendors on both sides of the path, and it's a beautiful walk on top of that. And there's lots of places to sit down, and there's also some public washrooms there as well.
Yeah, okay, so they have, they started with the Christmas decorations and the ribbons and all this crap. The end of July, beginning of August, they started putting stuff on the store.
Another nice feature of the Malecon is there's benches that you can sit down all along it. So if you don't like to do long walks, or you just need to sit down and rest, you don't need to plan for anything. There's benches pretty much everywhere along it. And this is the bridge that we just walked over. Lots of pigeons today, and they're not overly afraid, are they? And there's just one point or lookout off the bridge. Lots of benches if you just want to sit down and take a break and take a look down at down the beach. Lots of people out fishing today. It is Sunday. Probably a lot of people off of work. Gives them a little more opportunity to enjoy a pastime. And in the distance, you can see the Los Muertos Pier, which we'll head to at the end of this, or by the end of this video. If you're looking for seafood and clams and oysters and so forth, normally this section just underneath the bridge, there's a lot of vendors who are set up to sell those. It looks like we have one guy right now, but normally they have a whole table set up and you can watch the fresh seafood come in, I should say oysters and clams and so forth, and you'll watch them shuck it. They got a whole bunch of sauces and things like that you can apply. I haven't tried it. I'm always a little bit nervous myself about taking food right out of the bay right here, and how sanitary or clean it is, but I know a lot of people do it and they don't seem to have any problems and they seem to enjoy it. It's probably the most modern and probably the most expensive condominium building in all of Puerto Vallarta. It's called the Molina de Agua. I guess prior to this building being put here, there was a large park here, probably natural, and then it was ripped out and this construction occurred. But to commemorate what was done here, Molina de Agua, I believe, is washing of clothes, because in the Quality River at this point it's all fresh water, and a lot of the local residents would wash their clothes in the stream here. They erected a statue just to commemorate that historical, I guess, the historical significance of the area. And here's that statue. There's a water wheel behind there. I don't know if there ever was a water wheel. Nice gardens. A very popular section of the beach. Most days here, a lot of people who walk their dogs actually meet at this particular section of the beach. This place is called the Sea Monkey. It's a great place to have a drink. I haven't really eaten here, but I know a lot of people do. What's sort of cool right here is we got some egrets sitting on the top of this little umbrella. I think it's called a small polypa. That's pretty cool. Normally I see pelicans. I like that. And there we are. Lots of pelicans and egrets on the top of this building here. This restaurant is actually called La Lagosta Loca. It's actually excellent. I really enjoy it there. It's a great place to sit on the upper level or even the lower level and grab lunch. Great tacos. And I can't say about anything else other than maybe the coconut shrimp. The only two things I've ever eaten there, and they've both been excellent. If you're looking for a nice picture, we've got a nice bench here and a swing. Great place for a shot. Another interesting statue, lots of fun. Obviously a bench to sit down to. What I like is that the artist added in this little mouse here. And this right side, Burroughs Restaurant or Bar. Great place to sit down and have a drink in the afternoon. And this is right beside the Laszlo Cardenas Park. And on Saturdays they have their market open. And they have, it's an artisanal market, so they have a lot of artists here selling the wares, but they also have a place where you can get a lot of food. You can eat it there on the tables provided, or you can bring it home with you. And they have live music every Saturday as well. The market opens from 10 o'clock until about 2. And I refer to it as the tile park, because you can see all the surfaces and benches have been tiled over. Take a quick look into the park so you can see some of these benches. This is the main dining area on Saturdays. And this is the one fun statue I like to look at. These gentlemen and their dog trying to encourage this burro to get moving. So another information booth from the City Hall Municipal Tourism Board. Again, great places to stop in because I don't believe they're associated with any particular vendor, so you can get a lot of good information. And they have maps of the Malecon and information on a variety of excursions. They could probably tell you if there's anything unique going on in the city during your vacation while you're here. So officially, that's the end of the Malecon. The Malecon is 1 mile long or 1.6 kilometers. So we've just completed that, but what I'm going to do now is take you on a little extension to the pier so you can see that. It feels exactly like the Malecon. What you'll find along this section is obviously the ocean again, but more importantly, a lot of restaurants, and at the end, a pier. What's nice about these restaurants, and this is Daiquiri Dick's, that if you eat here, and then especially if you have breakfast or lunch and dinner, they've got all their tables set up. So you can eat on the sand or on the beach if you like, or if you decide that you don't want to get your feet dirty, you can actually sit at tables. interesting. They've got some loungers actually set up in boats. Like the style. Lifeguard stand. Have lots of those around here, but not very often you actually see a lifeguard there. Now this is Los Arcos. It's actually a resort. Very popular, always looks full, and they always have obviously this is their dining room. Always looks like great food. Great location because you're right in the heart of the romantic zone in the downtown. And they've got some great pools here. And waterfalls. So here's another whimsical sculpture. Got a fisherman and his son who have fallen asleep. They got all their catch in a basket here, and it looks like a cat and a pelican are trying to steal it. And the family dog, who should be protecting them, isn't. Although maybe he's just checking things out. It looks like he's got one eye open. Definitely one eye closed. Now there's a lot of different booths here where you can buy fishing charter or water taxi tickets. This is the first one. There's a couple right at the start of the pier. And if you're looking to go to the outer areas such as Yalapa, Quimixto, or Las Animas, you can buy a water taxi pass there. I know the price this year for a water taxi to Yalapa is 500 pesos return. You should book it in advance, that way you can leave at a time that you specify, and you could check a number of vendors here to make sure you get the time that you specify if one is full. And then when you're on the boat, you can talk to your boat captain or water taxi captain about when the last boat is coming back. Normally that's around 6 p.m. This is Cohetes. A lot of people come here for breakfast in the afternoons and sometimes evenings on the weekend. They also have a band playing, so nice music. But here, a lot of people sit on the beach to have their breakfast. And this is Los Muertos Pier. Now we can continue on and follow this boardwalk. That will take us past a few restaurants or beach clubs where you can rent chairs for the day or loungers. Again, you should book those in advance because they fill up and they may not have room for you. You can generally always find chairs and a table and grab something to eat or drink there. But if you want lounge chairs and stay here for the day, then you need to book that early just to make sure you've got them. The price is currently around 500 pesos per person for a lounger for the day. But that's a minimum charge as long as you consume alcohol or some lunch, then or some, I guess not dinner, it's only breakfast and lunch. Then you are able to deduct that 500 peso fee off your bill.
Yes, ready? 1 hour, 2 hours. Enjoy the best seafood, don't you?
So you buy your water taxi ticket, and this is where you go to pick it up. They'll line you up on the side of the pier here, and you'll go, there'll be a guide or somebody who'll direct you. and they'll take you on over to Yalapa, Quimixto, Las Animas. You probably go to some other areas as well, like Mismaloya. Also, if you want to go fishing, you can charter a boat here, and they'll take you out. Well, that's the end of my walking tour. Obviously, I am going to repeat that and go back. I probably have about 4,000 steps in from my condominium, maybe 3,500 from where we started at the Millennium Statue. And we've probably traveled another, let's say, 300 yards, 300 meters. So a total of distance of less than 2 kilometers, I would say, for the Malecon and this little extension here to the pier. Makes for a great early morning walk and one I enjoy on most mornings. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. Even if you didn't enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. Anyway, hope you have a great day.